Hello and welcome to Sreenath Academy. Now we are going to discuss about the CBSE 8th standard, that is about the 9th chapter, Reproduction in Animals Biology. So in the first session we are going to discuss about the each and every topic, that is the overview, and thereafter we will be discussing about the overview in detail, and finally we will be ending up with the summary. So in case of here we can see that the whatever the reproduction in animal is nothing but here we can see whatever here it's about the how the animals will be multiplied or replicated in their own version. So here we can see the mode of reproduction. In case of this mode of reproduction, there are different modes of reproduction, whether it's a sexual one or the asexual one. So the sexual one is the one where the two opposite sex partners will be involved in the process, and there is a generation of male and female gametes, and thereafter they will be ending up with the progeny. And finally there is a male reproductive organs, that is the explanation of different male reproductive organs, that is the so the male reproductive organ is the one which is consisting of a pair of testes and also a penis, and also we can see two sperm ducts where the sperm will be traveling, and the human sperm is the one where we can see the exact structure, that is head, middle piece and the tail. And coming to the female reproductive system, here it is about the it's about the entire structure where the ovulation and the other things will be taking place. Say here we can see the a pair of oviduct, that is the Malpighian tubules, and a pair of ovaries and a ureterus. Here we can see the ovaries are the one which are generally produces the female gamete, that is the ova or the eggs, and in the human being, single mature egg will be released into oviduct by means of ovaries for every month. Uterus is the one where we can see the development of the further baby from a single cell. And here we can see that fertilization is of different types. If it is taking place internally, it's called as internal fertilization. If it is taking externally, that is called as external fertilization. So if it is taking place within the body, it's called as internal fertilization, where we can see the formation of zygote. So zygote is a diploid organism or diploid cell which is formed as a result of the fusion of the male and the female gamete. Here we can see the external fertilization is a very important thing where we discuss in case of frogs and also other animals like amphibians and fishes are the one which are opting for the external fertilization, where the fusion will be taking place within the media, that is especially the water. So coming to development of embryo, in case of development of embryo, as a result of fertilization, there is a diploid cell called as zygote is formed. From the zygote, the multiple levels of divisions will be taking place. As we see here, the diploid zygote is single cell which will undergo multiple session of cell division, and finally it will form the embryo. So the main work of the embryo is to implant into the uterus and thereafter to hold on to the uterine wall. That is about termed as an embryo, and the embryo get embedded in the walls of the uterus for the further development. So here whatever the development is taking place, that embryo will be developing into fetus. The fetus which is formed, it is appearing that the mother will give birth to the baby, that is the fetus, and we can see that during the development of fetus we can see number of whatever the developments, like all the organs and the body parts will be formed as a result of the fetal development. So viviparous and oviparous animals are the ones where we can see the the development of the animal. So in case of viviparous animals, we can see the birth of they give birth to directly to the young ones, and the oviparous are the one which are involved in laying the eggs. They are called as aviparous. So all the aves and reptiles are the ones, or the amphibians are the ones which are giving the eggs, so they are called as oviparous, and when they are giving the young ones, they are called as viviparous. So young ones are converted into adults. Here we can see this kind of conversion is called as metamorphogenesis. So here in case of life cycle of the frog, where we can see the development of egg into tadpole, and tadpole is generally formed the late tadpole, and finally they will metamorphosis into the adult frog. Here in case of metamorphosis, the drastic change in the in the change of the body is called as metamorphosis, where we can see this kind of things are also observed in case of silkworm. That is the formation of the cocoon, and the whatever the molding of the cocoon is there, that is also one of the example for the metamorphosis. And coming to apart from the sexual part, that is also there is a description of asexual part or asexual reproduction, where we can see there is no perfect true involvement of both the parent. Only one parent will be involved. There is no formation of sex organs and the sex gametes, and everything is not formed, and only single parent will be involved in generating the daughter cell, that is asexual reproduction. And coming to here, we can see that the in Hydra we can see the formation of new individual by a process called as budding, that is the buds or the budding in case of Hydra, whereas asexual reproduction is generally observed as a part of it's a part of a budding process. And we can see that the binary fission in amoeba is the one where we can see the splitting of amoeba into two individual cells, and finally there is formation of two daughter cells. So here in case of amoeba is the one which is going through the binary fission, and budding is the one where we can see the asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction is a process where the parent molecule or a parent cell, whatever is there, that parent cell will be divided into two daughter cells, and there is no other involvement of other cells. And we can see the asexual reproduction is the one where the exact daughter cells or clones or replica of the mother cells. So asexual reproduction is very common in case of lower organisms like amoeba and also Hydra, and even the binary fission is also observed in case of bacteria. Coming to the in detail explanation of each and every topic in this detail. So here it's about the reproduction in animals, that is the 9th chapter CBSE 8th standard biology. So here in the introduction we can say that the reproduction in animals is very important. Why? Because to maintain the healthy population levels or the population numbers in a proper way, and we can say that the modes of reproduction is the one where we can see that the modes of reproduction are of different types. So it can be like based on whether what is involving. If both the parents are involving, if the young ones are generally formed out of that process, that is sexually reproducing organisms, if they are male and female are coming together, and if they are indulge in a sexual activity and giving the young ones, then it is called as sexual reproduction. And if it is asexual reproduction, it is a process where we can see the proper formation of the that is there is no proper formation of sexual organs, and the sexually mating organisms are not involved. Only one particular parent will be involved in the process of asexual reproduction. So here we can see the mode of reproduction, or the one where we can see in case of higher organism it's a sexual reproduction, whereas in lower organism like bacteria, fungi, and to certain extent we can see the Hydra and other examples, amoeba, that is the protozoans, all will be opting for the that is asexual reproduction. So coming to the second topic, that is about the sexual reproduction. So in case of sexual reproduction, we have a discussion whether it's a plants or animals which are higher organisms. They are the one which are having a perfect sexual organs, that is the sex organs, along with the perfect differentiation between the male and the female organism. So the male and female organism are indulge in the sexual activity, and whatever the young generations, whether in the form of egg or in the direct egg ones, the direct young ones are the one which are generally coming out of this sexual reproduction. So here we can see the sexual reproduction is the one where we can see the perfect observation of male and female gametes. So there is a formation of male and female gametes, and also we can see the perfect appearance of male and female individual. So here in case of sexual reproduction is the one where we can see the process of forming a young offspring or the new one as a result of the sexual process. So in case of sexual process, we have to keep in mind that the male and female individuals are involved, and there is a formation of male and female gametes. Okay, there's a formation of male and female gametes, followed by formation there is a fusion of both the gametes, and finally after the fusion of the output or the fusion of the product, that is generally after the fusion, whatever the output is coming, and that fertilization fusion, that is the one which is generally giving rise to the new offsprings. So this kind of network is called as sexual reproduction, which is very common in case of higher organism. So here after the fusion there is a formation of zygote, embryo, and finally that leads to the fetus, development into fetus, and finally that will be given birth to the new individuals or the babies. So this is about the sexual reproduction. And coming to the male sexual organs, in case of male sexual organs, so in case of male sexual organs, we can see that the pair of testes, two sperm ducts, and also a penis. So these are the different elements or different parts which are involved as a male reproductive organ. So here testes are the one which are generating a male gametes called as sperms, and as shown in the picture, the sperm is a male gamete, and it is a single cell which is consisting of different segments. So here we can see this is a very small cell, small in size, and has a head, and followed by middle piece and the tail. So if you wonder what is the need for the tail, the tail of the sperm or the male gamete is always useful for the male to swim near to the egg, that is the ovum. So the male gametes are nothing but the, so what we said, the male gametes. So the male gametes are nothing but they are called as sperms. So the sperms are the one which are formed within the testis, that is the place where the production of the sperm will be taking place, and after the production of sperm is taking place in the testis, they will be traveling to the sperm duct, and by means of urinogenital duct, they will be ejected out of the penis. So we are having the male ones are having the pair of testes, a pair of sperm duct, and a single penis. So this entire system of arrangement of along with the prostate gland is called as male reproductive system. So here the sperm is the one which is a single cell, and it is the one which is carrying the, it is called as male gamete, that is the sperm which is carrying the genetic material, that is the DNA or the nucleus present within the middle piece of the sperm. And coming to the female reproductive organ, here in case of female reproductive system or organs, we can see we are having a pair of ovaries, followed by the oviduct, that is the fallopian tubules, and also there is a uterus. So here we can see a pair of ovaries followed by the oviduct, and also uterus is the one which is completely setting up the female reproductive organ. Here and also we can discuss that the female gametes are the one which are generally female gametes, or otherwise called as ova or eggs, which are generally produced as a result of the this particular release, that is the ova or the eggs, that is nothing but the female gamete generally released from the ovaries. In case of human beings, we can see that the human beings are the one which can release single egg. So they can release single mature egg into the oviduct, and for every month they will be releasing an egg or an ovum for every month of ovarian cycle. So for every month or for every one particular ovarian cycle which is taking place per month, there is a release of single mature egg into the fallopian tubules by the female person. So this and finally when there is a fertilization has been taking place in the fallopian tubules, the ova which is generally fertilized, it is called as zygote, which is diploid in state. It will travel down to the fallopian tubule, and finally after fertilization has been taking place in the fallopian tubule, that is oviduct, the zygote undergoing some developments and forming a structure called as embryo, and that embryo will be coming into uterus, and finally it will undergo implantation into the embryo, that is into the uterus. So here we can see the ovarians are the one which are generally that is ovaries are the one which are the ovaries are the one which are generally released per month, and there is a completion of one particular ovarian cycle per month. And we can see that whatever the uterus is there, as we see in the screen, it is the site for the development of the fetus or the development of the embryo. So the embryo which is formed as a result of fertilization, it will be implanted into the walls of the uterus, and finally the walls of the uterus will be developed, and that whatever the zygote is there, that zygote will be developing into embryo, and thereafter it will be developing into fetus, and finally it given birth to the baby. So whatever as we see in the sperm, which is a small in size and it is a single cell and male gamete, we can see the ova or the egg or the one which are generally large. So the large ones are nothing but the ova or the egg cells, which are the large ones which are generally generated or produced as a result of this female reproductive system. So here this is the human ovum which is generally formed, and there is a formation and there is a appearance of nucleus within the cell. So here human ovum is the one which is a female reproductive cell, nothing but called as female gamete or ova, which is released per 1 month. Per 1 month it can be released only one per ovarian to the ovarian duct, that is to the ovaries. So coming to fertilization is a process where there is a fusion of male one. So the male gamete, that is the sperm, will be fused with the female one. So the male and female one are fused together to form the zygote. So here as we see in the diagram, here the fertilization is the process where we can see in the diagram that is the sperm is the one which is generally crossing the walls of the ovary, that is the so the here the first step in the so the first step that is in the process of sexual reproduction is the fertilization. So in case of fertilization, we can see that the sperm, okay, the sperms are the one that is the male gametes which are generally fusing with the ovum, that is the female gamete. So the fusion which is taking place as a result of the penetration of the sperm into the ovum or the female gamete is called as fertilization. And as a result of this fertilization, we can see that the sperm, that is the one which is penetrating to the walls of the ovum or the female gamete, there is a penetration and we can see the release of the nucleus. So whatever the release of nucleus, that is the male gamete has been released into cytosol, and the male gamete which is released as a result of the into the cytosol, it will be refusing with the female gamete, that is the female gamete of the ovum. So as a result of this fusion between the male gamete and female gamete, that fusion is called as fertilization. So the end product of the fertilization is nothing but the formation of a zygote, and it is nothing but called as an fertilized egg. So the egg which is a female gamete, it will be fused with the male gamete of the sperm, and as a result of this fusion, the haploid will lead to the formation of a diploid, and we can see that is called as egg, that is the fertilized egg or the zygote which is formed as a result of this fusion. So here always we have to observe that the appropriate male gamete will be fusing with the female gamete, that is the ovum. So in case of human, the ovum, that is the female gamete, is very larger when compared to the sperm, but which is a smaller in size. And we can say that this process of fertilization, so we can see this process of fertilization, if it is taking place within the body, it is called as internal fertilization. So all the higher organisms like mammals, human beings, animals, everything, they will be, that is especially the mammals is the one which are showing the internal fertilization, and as a result of after the fertilization, the zygote will be developed into embryo, and this embryo will be implanted into uterine wall, and finally they will develop into the fetus, and finally the baby will be given birth. And here we can see certain animals, they can have the ability to give out the, so certain animals like amphibians, fishes, frogs, reptiles, they are the one where the fertilization will be taking place outside the body. So especially the frogs are the one where we can see the release of the sperm into the media, that is the water, and the sperm will be released into the water, whereas the egg, the unfertilized egg or the ovum will be attached to the surface of the leaf or the rock. So when the sperm will come in contact with these eggs, they will cause the formation of the fertilized egg or the zygote. So this kind of things, especially in case of frogs, we can see the deposition of the legs, that is the eggs are generally laid or deposited onto the surface of the leaf or onto the rock surface, where the male one will come and causes the fertilization of the eggs. And these kind of things, when the fertilization or the fusion of the male and female gamete, if it is taking place outside the cell, it is called as, or outside the body, it is called as external fertilization. So it's a very common thing in case of aquatic mammals, and also so it's very common thing in case of aquatic animals, especially the fishes and the starfishes. So external fertilization is the process which is very much common in case of aquatic animals. So coming to the development of embryo, in case of development of embryo, we can see the fertilization is the first step in the formation of the zygote. After the zygote has been formed, that is a diploid cell, this zygote will be traveling along the length of the oviduct, and finally it will undergo number of divisions, mitotic divisions, which are generally taking place, and they will be moving along the oviduct, and finally they will travel to the uterine wall. So uterine wall is the one where we can see the implantation of the embryo will be taken place, that is the embedding of the embryo within the uterine wall. And this uterine wall is the one where we can see the exact implementation of the embedding of the embryo. So here we can see the embedment of the embryo within the uterine wall. This embryo is the one which is generally further development or further leads to the formation of the that is the fetus. So the fetus is the one which is formed as a result of development of this embryo, and this fetus will be further developed during the, as passes of month is taking place. We can see the further development of fetus, and it is leading to the formation of the baby. So here we can see the formation of embryo as a result of mitotic division, and it is involved in the implantation into the uterus. So as we see in the result of development of embryo, it is always the zygote followed by embryo, implantation, and finally it is about the cell division and designated division of labor between the cells of the embryo, which will be doing different functions of development, and finally there is a formation of mature tissue, different tissues and organs within the body or the that is within the baby, and leads to the formation of the embryo. So the embryo is the one which is generally embedded in the walls of the uterus and leads to further development of the fetus. So as the masses as the months are going on, when we see different months, or as we see the three months are going on in 9 months, like first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester, we as the time is going on, the developmental stages will also pick up, and there is a leads to formation of different parts of the body which can be identified as a fetus. So here development of fetus is the one which is generally taking place completely within the body of the mother, and finally it leads to the birth of the baby. So this entire fertilization is generally taking place internally, so it is called as internal fertilization, and it is generally taking place in case of human beings and cows. So they are nothing but the babies, or which are the outcome of the internal fertilization, which are happening inside the human beings and the cows. And we can see that whereas in case of birds, or in case of the avians, that is the things which are flying, so the aves are the one which are generally taking place, or the where we can see the birds are the one which are generally involved in the process of laying the birds. So whatever the fertilization is taking place, that will be generally taking place within the hard shell, that is the egg shell, where we can see there is a protective layer which is protecting the egg. So along with the sperm, the egg will be laid down into the protective layer of very hard shell, and it is the down there where we can see the fertilization is taking place. So here the zygote generally divide rapidly, travel down the oviduct, and as it is traveling, there is a formation of protected layer, that is the eggshell around this zygote, and it will be laid down as an egg. So the eggs are generally as the mother is providing the warmth and the developmental conditions, the zygote which is present, or the embryo which is present within the eggshell, it will be undergo different developmental stages, and finally we can see the appearance of the baby that is out of the shells. And we can see the what is viviparous and oviparous. Viviparous are the one where we can see the direct giving birth. So the babies, if they are given birth directly, they are called as viviparous. If they are present, or if they are giving out the eggs or the egg, nothing but is called as oviparous. So oviparous are the individual where we can see the direct where we can see the formation of, where we can see the eggs to be given out, that is the oviparous. That is the individuals, or the, generally the development of the baby will be taking place outside in a protective shell. So that is called as oviparous, where the eggs has been laid down. Whereas viviparous are the one which is a most common type in case of all the mammals in the higher advanced organism, where the babies or the young ones are generally directly delivered out by the mother, and that is called as viviparous. So in case of amphibians, especially the frogs, as we discussed, the fertilization is external fertilization, that is the eggs and the sperm will be released into the media where the fertilization will be taking place. So the young ones are the ones which are generally developing outside the body. So there is a transformation of development of adults from the young ones, where we can see the young ones are generally the developmental pattern or developmental stages entirely it is taking place right from the fertilization to the end of formation of mature organism. The entire process is taking place outside, even the fertilization to the other process. So this transformation of young ones into the adults is generally taking place in the external environment, generally taking place in case of external environment. So here we can see in case of, for example, if it is case of silkworm, we can see the eggs are the one which are converting into larva, and the larva are the one which are generating the pupa, and finally it's about the adult one which are generally forming out of the young one. So here we can see eggs, larva, pupa, and the adult one is the one where we can see the complete transformation has been observed. And we can also say that the tadpoles which are generally formed. So in case of developmental pattern of the frog, we can see the formation of eggs, and the eggs will be fertilized outside, and thereafter it leads to the formation of early tadpole, late tadpole, and finally the adult frog will be taking place. So this entire conversion is nothing but called as metamorphosis. So the metamorphosis is the one where we can see the life cycle of the entire frog or the silkworm has been observed. That is, there is a change in the status of the body of this organism, especially in the silkworm and the frog, where we can see the complete change of the mode and the pattern of the body has been observed. This kind of complete change of the mode and pattern of the body is called as metamorphosis. So coming to the third topic, that is asexual reproduction. So in case of asexual reproduction is the process of normal, it is taking place in case of lower organism, especially the amoeba and also hydra. So the organism which are belonging to lower grade, that is the lower organisms, are the one where we can see the asexual reproduction has been taking place. Here we can see the asexual reproduction is the process where we can see the involvement of single parent. There is no formation of reproducing or sex cells, and there is the daughter cells which are formed as a result of this asexual reproduction. It is the clones. So the clones are the one which are nothing but called as which are formed as a result of the this asexual reproduction. Those are the ones nothing but called as daughter cells, which are exactly same that of the parent. So always there is an involvement of single parent, and there is no production, there is no sexually producing, or the gametes or the sex cells has been involved, and the daughter cells are exactly same, they are called as clones to that of the single parent. And we can see this is the common process which is taking place in the lower organism, that is especially in case of unicellular bacteria and unicellular bacteria and other kind of cells which are forming the lower level of organization, that is the cellular level of organization or unicellular organisms. So in case of Hydra, we can see this is nothing but the budding, which is a process in case of Hydra, where we can see the formation of a single small bud, that is from the parent, and after the formation that bud will undergo maturation, and finally there is a completely development of a proper mature Hydra which is developing from the budding taking place in the Hydra. So as a result of Hydra budding, that entire bud which will be developing into mature Hydra, and this mature Hydra which is formed on the surface of the Hydra, it will be detached from the Hydra, and finally it leads to the formation of a mature Hydra molecule. So here this process is called as budding, and that particular element is called as bud. And we can see that this kind of reproduction is called as asexual reproduction, which is generally appearance of single parent has been observed in case of this process. And we can also say that this kind of asexual reproduction is called as budding. And what happens in case of other organism like amoeba? In case of amoeba, the process is called as binary fission, which is taking place in case of amoeba. So here we can see the mature parent cell will be the cell which has attained a particular maturation state. It will undergo a proper division of nuclear and the cellular assets between the two cells. So this is the one daughter cell, and this is the another daughter cell, where there is a proper division of content, that is the nuclear content and the cellular content has been properly divided between the both the cells of that particular mature cell. And after the complete division has been taken place, we can see the splitting of that particular two cells into two daughter cells. So these are the two daughter amoeba cells, or the one which are exactly genetically and appearance they will be same with that of the parent cell. So this kind of division of the one mature cell into two exact equal daughter cell, that is two daughter cells of amoeba, is nothing but called as binary fission. So the binary fission is very common in case of protozoans like amoeba and paramecium, and also it's very common in case of bacteria like E. coli. So this is the asexual reproduction, is the one where the main criteria is that it will be taking place in a lower organism, and it involves only single parent, and there is formation of two daughter cells most probably at the end of the process, and they are very much equal in all the things in case of binary fission, and they are uneven in case of budding in case of Hydra and the yeast. So that is nothing but the involvement of single parent, and which will be splitting to form a different segments. So this is about the asexual reproduction which is taking place in case of lower animals. So till now we have discussed with the what is sexual reproduction, what are the modes of so what is reproduction, how the animals will increase their cell number, and also their population. There are different ways by which they can increase their population. Either it may be the sexual way of reproduction, or it may be asexual way of reproduction. In case of sexual way of reproduction, there is increase in the population of certain group of animals because of interbreeding between the animals, where we can see the interbreeding has been taking place between the male and female one of the same species and the same kind of morphological appearing animals, and there is a production of offspring, that is the young ones. Whereas asexual one, we can see that the asexual reproduction is the one where in case of asexual reproduction there is an involvement of a single parent. There is no reproducing or there is no reproducing cells or sex cells has been formed of this asexual reproduction, and we can see the clones or the daughter cells are exactly same of the single parent. So this is about the asexual reproduction, which is most probably the major one which is taking place during the favorable condition in case of lower organisms. So coming to the summarization of this chapter 9, that is reproduction in animals. So here we are going to discuss about how there is an increase in the population number, and how there is increase in the cell number which is equal to the reproduction in case of lower organisms and lower animals. So here we can see the reproduction in animal is nothing but increasing the certain number, especially increasing the certain number of certain individual, especially the same species and same individual is nothing but called as reproduction in animals. So here we can see the mode of reproduction. In case of mode of reproduction, there are two different modes, that is the sexual reproduction and the asexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction is the one where we can see the involvement of two opposite sex individual or the parents coming together. They are having a proper sex organs and a meeting between them, and there is a release of male and female gamete, and there is fusion, and finally there is a formation of offspring or the baby, which will be nothing but called as a product of the sexual reproduction. So coming to the male reproductive organ, here the male reproductive organ is consisting of pair of testicles, sperm duct, and also there is a pair of testicles, pair of sperm ducts, and also a penis. So a single penis and this entire arrangement is called as male reproductive organ or the system. So here the testes are the one where we can see the production of sperms will be taking place, which are the very small cells, and they are small cells which consisting of head, a middle piece, and the tail. And we can see that the sperm is the one which is a single cell, that usually it's an cellular component. And we can see that the female reproductive organs are the one where we can see the there is a formation of ovules, that is the ovum is generally formed as basis of one mature ovum will be released as a result of one particular ovarian cycle that is taking place in the female reproductive system of the females. So this ovary will be releasing one particular egg cell or the ovum, and which is undergoing fertilization, even to certain extent of conversion or converting, or the to certain extent for the formation of zygote and maturation of zygote into the embryo will be taking place in the fallopian tubules, or nothing but called as oviduct. And the coming to fertilization, the fertilization is the process where the single cell, that is the female single cell, that is ova or the egg cell, will be fusing with a single cell, that is the male one, which is called as sperm. And as a result of this fertilization, there is a formation of a diploid cell called as zygote, which is generally formed as a result of this particular fertilization process. So this zygote, if it is taking place within the cell, that particular zygote, or like in case of mammals and especially in human beings, all the mammals are the ones where we can see the internal fertilization will be taking place. So entire scenario of releasing the male gametes will be released outside, whereas the female one will be releasing the ovum, and then generally the fertilization will be taking place, and finally that fertilized egg will be implanted into the uterus. So the entire process, if it is taking place, especially the fertilization process, then it is called as internal fertilization. So what is external fertilization? If this fusion of male and female gametes, if there is taking place outside, and if the gametes are released into media and where the fertilization is taking place, then it is called as external fertilization. So it is very common in case of aquatic animals, especially in the fishes, starfish, and also frogs. So here we can see the eggs of the frogs have been released onto the stone or onto the surface of the leaf, where we can see the sperm will be released into the media, and we can see the fusion will be taking place in the water. So the development of embryo, when you are discussing the fusion of the both male and female gametes, that is the zygote, is generally taking place in the fallopian tubules or the oviduct. So after the fusion has taken place, as we see in the diagram, there is a development is taking place as the time is moving on, and this developmental process will be taking place within the fallopian tubules, and we can see that a complete process will be completed within the oviduct, and there is a release of embryo, and this embryo can be embedded within the uterine walls. And here we can see this development of embryo is generally taking place here within within the body, and there is an implantation of this embryo within the body. Here we can see that there is a development of fetus which is generally taking place. That fetus is generally formed as a result of maturation of the embryo. So once the embryo has been implanted into uterus, that will undergo number of development and divisions, and each and every new tissue and new organ generally form within the tissue which can have the capability of doing the work. So that kind of one is called as fetus. So the fetus is the one which is generally, the development of the fetus is generally taking place, and it will be completed, and here the mother will give the birth to the baby, which is a complete mature fetus. So entire developmental process is generally taking place, that is the fetus development is taking place within the embryo. So entire development of fetus generally taking place within the mother, and it is the one, it is the where we can see the mother is the one which is generally giving birth to the young baby. That is the fetus development will be taking place in the uterus completely, and it is giving birth to the baby. So the viviparous and oviparous are the animals. What is different between the viviparous and oviparous? So viviparous are the one where we can see the animals which give birth. So the animals which can give birth to the young ones are called as viviparous. Animals which are giving birth of the fertilized egg in a particular protective shell, and thereafter they are undergoing incubation, like birds and reptiles. They will give that protective shell will be broken down to give the baby. So the viviparous are the one which are laying the eggs, and the the viviparous are the one which are laying the exact which are giving out the young babies directly, and the oviparous are the one which are laying the eggs, that is consisting of fertilized egg within the protective shell. So what is metamorphosis? And especially in case of silkworm and the frog, where we can see the life cycle of frog is taking place, that is egg transforming into early tadpole and late tadpole, and finally it leads to the formation of adult frog. So this entire conversion is called as metamorphosis. So in case of metamorphosis, and that is in case of metamorphosis of silk, we can see silkworm, that is especially we can see the conversion of egg to the larva and to the caterpillar, that is, and finally pupa and the adult. So this entire transformation is called as metamorphosis, that is the transformation between the young ones and the adult. And coming to the asexual reproduction, that is the process where the lower organism, especially the hydra and the amoeba, are the one which are generally giving out the babies. So the single parent is there is no fusion of gametes, reproductive sex structures and the cells, where the single parent is giving out the progeny, and that giving out the progeny is called as asexual reproduction. That is single parent is involvement, no sex cells, no gametes, no fusion, nothing has involved. Only there is a bump of bud which is appearing in case of yeast or in case of the hydra, and we can see that is the budding process, where the small bud will be arising from a mature cell, and there is an unequal or unequalness is between the daughter cell and the mature cell. Here we can see that the asexual reproduction is also very common in case of protozoans like amoeba, and also binary, that is called as binary fission, or in case of bacteria, where we can see the complete mature cell will be splitting half from the middle into formation of dividing. There is a division of nucleus and a cytoplasm, and finally leads to the formation of daughter cells, that is the daughter amoeba, which is as a part of the binary fission. So this is entirely about the asexual reproduction. There is only involvement of single parent. Either there is a complete splitting of parents into two daughter cell, which are nothing but called as clones, which are equal to the parent cell in terms of appearance and genetically, or it can be formation of an inequality budding can be formed from an hydra, where we can see the formation of the hydra from the sides of the mature hydra. So this is about the asexual reproduction. So I hope you are understanding all the concepts properly. If you have any problem with the concept, you can write down in the comment box, and if you like and share the video, that is very well and good. And also we are looking forward so that if you like the video and if you subscribe, you can get a better videos of better understanding of the concept. Thank you for watching.